Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And we are over in Unrest tonight, and we are playing my Cleric, who happens to be level 22, with one bubble in his level. So he has four more to go, which actually won't take that long to get there. We have a nice group going here. We got two enchanters, I believe, still. No, I think we're down to just one enchanter. Level 18, we already got him. So that's the new guy. We just got level 16 Cleric looking for group. I think that's a little low. I think 17 is the lowest we can get into our group because I'm level 22, and we have a few others, I believe, that are close to my level. Now, we have a Bard with us, we have a Ranger, and Misty Dusk, I believe, is a Cleric, so it's kind of weird to see them fighting, but I guess they got bored because we don't really need two Clerics in this group. Now, granted, the Ranger's not the best of tanks, but they've been doing quite well here. We haven't had any issue whatsoever with them. I've seen tanks that are far more squishy than the one we have right now. He's doing quite well to hold the zone. Now, he is a pretty high level, and I think that's part of the reason he's able to do as well as he's doing. Plus, he's pretty good at his class. He knows how to pull, and he knows how not to do things that he's not supposed to, which is basically get in the way and break mez and things of that sort. So it's kind of nice to have somebody who knows what they're doing in that regard. Now, he's taking it easy. We have the Bard pooling right now since we got her. She's actually really good as well. Now, she's not twisting 3, 4, 5 songs at one time, but in this group, you don't really need to. And the zone is really still not capped. It's been about 5 hours since I first logged on, and we're only up to about 15 players. So not quite sure why it's so dead over here, why just nobody seems to log on in this zone anymore. I kind of had a theory on the last episode that I told you guys that maybe because of that double experience, like from Wednesday to Monday or whatever portion that they had, a lot of people who had low-level characters got out of that section, and now they're going off to Mistmore because Mistmore is completely and totally camped. I was over there before I came over here, and it's a pretty long run without and especially when you're overweight like my Cleric is. It takes a long time to get over here, but I finally got over here, and where Mistmore has like 70-something people in it, I kid you not, it's ridiculous. There's like two groups. There's like 12, 13, 14 people sitting at the entrance waiting to get into a group, just sitting on the waiting list and stuff like that. So I was like, after an hour of sitting there waiting, hoping that I could get into one, I just decided to come over here. And it's like from night and day. You go to a zone that's so overcamped to a zone that really has very, very few people in it at the moment. And it's kind of weird because both zones, both Mistmore and Unrest and Crushbone included, all have a experience modifier that gives you more experience than you normally would be getting. Now, the Crushbone one I've heard has a lower experience modification than what original Everquest had. But I hear Unrest and Mistmore have a slightly higher one. So that's why I'm kind of okay with it, because if, sorry for the lack of pools, not a lot of mobs to take when we kill everything. Yeah, we're killing things way too quickly. Although it's not really a negative. I mean, you can't really kill things too quickly. It's just if you don't have enough to pull in the place of those, then you get downtime like this. And we have a little bit here and there. It's actually not too bad. When everything spawns, we have a good 20 minutes where it's just constant pulls over and over and over again. And then in between, we have about 3-4 minutes where you're waiting for the rest of the stuff to respawn because you just killed it so quickly that it hasn't had a chance to pop back up. There we go, got a couple more there. And she's constantly having to travel further and further away from where we're at to try to find something, which is kind of dangerous for her. And of course, it creates a lag time basically in when she can get back from her pull and then go off and find something else and pull that back. So there's still that issue going on over there, but thankfully it's getting a little bit better. She's getting into a nice little groove. Easier when we could pull upstairs. Yeah, there's a group up there, but like I said, it's not really that camped, so that's a good thing right there. Let's go ahead and heal her up. I still don't know why the Cleric is attacking, but I'm not gonna say anything. He was healing just fine for a long time, and he just recently decided that I guess he wanted to work on his one-hand blunt skill or something. So I'll let him do what he wants because we're fine. If I ever get real low on life, maybe then, but until then. Been able to snag a few upstairs, but they have a full group. Man, I wish I could get into the group upstairs, but they kind of moved in together all at one time. It was kind of weird, the zone was almost empty, and they showed up with almost a full group. They had 5 guys, and they went straight to the fireplace room. Like, they knew it wasn't camp. Like, somebody told them. And they put a group together outside and came flying in and just took it, which is perfectly fine. Nobody was camping it. We were pulling from it, but not camping it. Let me fix my sound. I can only hear it coming out of one speaker. Oh, there we go. So it's because he was standing on the side of me that I could only hear it coming out of one side of my headset. It just sounded weird hearing all the sound coming out of my right speaker and not from my left. But now that I turned the angle, it seems to be working just fine. So hopefully that doesn't translate into whatever medium you're watching it on the TV or whatever. Hopefully it sounds perfectly fine and you don't hear all the volume coming out of one speaker because of my angles kind of slightly turned. There we go. Wow, that was pretty loud coming out of my left speaker. But yeah, it's a really cool zone, and I can't wait to check more of it out. Unfortunately, I'm stuck here in this room way too often. I went over to Mistmore, as I said before, and that was kind of fun to check it out and do a couple groups there at the entrance during that experience time, or that double experience time. You just can't really rely on that at the moment to get into those groups. I guess if you sat there long enough, maybe you could get into those groups. But in the meantime, I wanted to get a little few levels and maybe go to some other places like Highkeep. I kind of want to run over there and check that area out. Although that is a really long run because I have to take the boat to get there. Because I've resigned myself from doing these videos. I want to be able to do it where if I go to a new zone for the very first time, I want to go there the way you had to back in the day for most people. Because most people didn't have a druid that they could call up and say, hey, can you please teleport me? Here's 10 platinum that I really can't afford to give you because my spells cost so much to teleport me over to a zone that may or may not have somebody there that I can actually group with. So most people would take an extra 20, 30, 40 minutes before they logged on and say, okay, I'm going to get prepared. We're gonna run over there today. We're going to take the boat. We're going to go check it out. And we're going to see what we can get into. But they wouldn't bind themselves over there. They would take the boat and they would run all the way over to those zones, and they would see if there's anything good there. If somebody, was hunting there and there was a good chance you could find a group, then you'd go outside the zone right at the entrance and bind yourself, and you're there. But if you run that whole way and you get to that zone, you find out that it's empty, well, now you can just hit that little gate button and you can bounce right back, and you don't have to travel another 40 minutes back the way you just came. But there is a little bit of danger in there where if you die, now you have to take that whole boat ride all over again. So it really is up to you how you want to travel in this game. Me personally, I would spring for a So or a Sow or Spirit of the Wolf is what I should just call it from now on, because you guys have so many different ways of pronouncing that, and it kind of annoys some of you guys when you don't pronounce it the way you prefer it to be. But Spirit of the Wolf is definitely something you should spring for. If you don't have the money, then hopefully somebody can just give it to you for free, especially if you're sitting at the boat or on the docks waiting for the boat. You may find a shaman or I believe rangers get Spirit of the Wolf at some point, but I'm not sure if they do or not. Actually, I'm not really sure on that one. No, I don't need the coat, but it's pretty cool that it's dropping over here. So small remailed and bronze, although it's been some time since I've seen bronze drop here at all. So that's not a very common drop, apparently. It has been on some of my groups. I'm not sure if they're pulling from a special place for that to drop more often. I bet you see a lot more of that bronze stuff up in the fireplace than you do down here. Let me go ahead and root this guy because our enchanter isn't paying that close attention. There we go. I can sit right in your face, punk, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, man, he's going to be so angry when he wakes up. But, yeah, it's a cool way to travel. I like using Spirit of the Wolf. It definitely makes things quicker. And the greatest thing about it, the reason I would suggest you always getting that if you can possibly afford it, is because if you get attacked by a mob, very, very few mobs in this game have the speed of Spirit of the Wolf. There's a few of them out there that have that speed, and they will be able to keep up with you and constantly hit you from behind as you're running, like any other mob will do when you don't have Spirit of the Wolf. But for the most part, you'll be perfectly fine running away from the enemy with that on. Of course, that does mean that you will have to know where you're going. And if you're new to the zone and you have no clue what direction to go in, having a Spirit of the Wolf may not help you out all that much because you have no clue where to zone it. And chances are you're probably going to run in to more enemies. Holy crap, I can barely move, I'm so overweight. You probably run into more enemies because of it. You know, trying to get your way out of there, which can really, really suck. When you're lost and you run into, you know, just group after group after group of mobs, and then you die. Now you not only do you have to run back, you know, and take that whole boat ride and all that other stuff, but you have to find your corpse because you were lost in the first place. And that's why you have the little LOC button over here, so that at least you can push that button and get your coordinates, so that you have some clue of where your corpse is. Now it can be very, very hard to use that button and find where you need to go. Like I'll hit LOC right now, and it tells me I am at 588.46. 30.22 and 3.75. Now those are all positives. Occasionally you'll see you know, negative 500 or, you know, negative whatever, showing you where you need to go. It's still kind of difficult because some zones are not straightforward. They don't just say you know, you can just travel in that direction. That's clearly the direction you need to go in, and you'll just keep going straight until you get there. A lot of zones will have things in your way. They will have water, mob camps. They may have mountains that you have to go through a narrow pass to get through, and then it opens up on the other side into almost a whole nother zone. And if you don't know where that little narrow point is, you're going to be traveling along the wall, up and down, back and forth, until you find it, and that in its own right can be very dangerous. 16, almost 17 rogue looking for group. I think we might be able to handle that. Let me see. Come to main room. Now, what I have noticed is that when somebody shouts, or not shouts, but does OOC saying they're looking for a group, when I do an OOC say come to main room, a lot of people don't respond and they don't come to main room. But then when I send them a message, you know, like 5 minutes later saying, hey, do you still need a group? They're like, yeah, I still need a group. So I don't know if some people just don't have their OOC on or what the story is there. But if somebody doesn't reply back to you right away when you're trying to get them into your group, send them a message. I mean, the worst they're going to say is, no, I no longer need a group. They're not going to get mad that you sent them a message. I've never had anybody get mad that they got a message offering them a spot in a group after they did an OOC looking for one. Even if they had an offer for a better room, they'd be like, no, I got a room already. Thanks for it, you know? So you're more than fine, you know, sending out messages to people. The only thing I would say is if they don't reply after you send them the message, then just forget about it. Because one, they either got into another group, or two, they're not paying attention. And that's hardly the kind of person you want in your group, is somebody who just did an OOC asking for a group and then doesn't even have the wherewithal to stay and make sure that if somebody sends them a message, they're there to see it. You know, of course, there's a lot of things that could be going on in a person's life, but still, if they can't even reply back to your message, then, you know, just move on, and you're probably going to be better off for it. Now, I am hoping to get this Cleric up to at least around 35, maybe 40 before Velius comes out in August. Might be able to get him up even higher than that if I can play a little bit more than I have been. Again, I have been doing a lot of Let's Plays on a lot of different other series, which have been kind of taxing. I've actually been falling behind on some of my series, unfortunately, because of work. It's one of those things where you have to balance your real life with, or no, not your real life, it's all real life, but with your personal life, with your work schedules. And it doesn't always work out the way I want it to, because I would love to be able to just sit here, you know, at home and play video games, you know, for hours on end, and just make video after video for you guys. But it doesn't seem to be the case just yet. Maybe one day, if the channel ever takes off, I can do that. But until then, I can only do about 3 or 4 series at a time, and even then, that's kind of hectic, because that's a lot of episodes I have to rip and convert over and things of that sort, because my computer's not the greatest in the world, and I gotta use Fraps, which any of you guys who ever use Fraps knows that it takes up a dramatic amount of space when you record, because it's recording it in its uncompressed format. And the reason I'm even mentioning any of this is because some of you guys have asked, what do I use and how do I record what the videos that I have. and Fraps is the program I use. For about 30 minutes of footage, it takes up about 200 to 250 gigs of space, but then you run it through Virtual Dub, and Virtual Dub shrinks it down to about a gig and a half of space for 30 to 40 minutes of an episode, which isn't too bad. The downside is it's taking up all that space, so unless you have an enormous hard drive, you have to stop after about, for me anyways, I have to stop about 5 hours. I can record in one given sitting. Then I have to stop and convert some of those files to a smaller format, which takes about 3 hours per file, and then I can record some more. So even if I have the time, my computer is slowing me down because of it. Hopefully one day I can find a better program that my computer can run fairly well, because the thing you got to consider when you're picking out a program, there's a lot of good ones out there, like OBS, which is open broadcast software. That's a free one. You don't have to pay anything for it. Not only does it record for you, but it also converts at the same time. And that's one of the reasons I can't use it, is because the conversion process uses more RAM than I'm able to give it. And because I'm running a game and recording at the same time, and then adding that conversion process into it, it's just too much for my lowly computer to be able to handle. And so I have to do one at a time. I have to record. We have 2 clerics might be able to do whereabouts. Yeah, okay, we can try whereabouts. I wouldn't mind. We've gotten a few of them before in the past, and it seemed to work out just fine. So I think they're just being a little cautious because we don't really see some hags down there as well, though. I'm up for trying it. Let's see, are they gonna pull them? I think they might. Yeah, it sounds like they are. They're getting hit pretty hard. Let's go ahead and toss a heal. Probably going to be a mistake right off the bat. I'm gonna go ahead and get the aggro, but we have the enchanters, so I'm not too worried. Otherwise, I would just be, I wouldn't do that at all. That would be a suicide. There we go. And I need breeze as well. Of course, he's probably not going to do it during combat. I'll wait till afterwards. I'm more than fine with that. But yeah, there's a lot of different software you can use out there to record. It really comes down to not only what game you're recording, but the specs of your computer, what style you tend to want to get. Some of the software out there I've seen doesn't record nearly as good of a quality as Fraps does. Some of them record better, but again, you have to decide what you're going for. Some video games out there are very, very low quality to begin with, so you could use something that doesn't record high quality, but that's perfectly fine for what you're recording anyways, because it's not in high quality, and yet it will record it faster, convert it for you, and then you can move on to the next one without having to do that whole conversion process, which just takes forever. So my suggestion would be is to try out all of them. Try out all the free ones that you can get your hands on. See how they work. See which ones you like for each specific game. And the biggest problem I've had with my videos is my sound. Every time you start a new game, you have to figure out that sound, because sometimes, like with Everquest 2 is like the notorious one that is just causing me nothing but issues. The volume of the music will be fine, the volume of the action will be fine, and then we'll go into a new area that we've never been in before, and the volume of like the ocean will be so loud. But everything else was fine for like 5 videos, so in those I never assumed that the volume of the ocean was going to be anything different from the actual sound effects of the game. And so I recorded like 4 or 5 videos over there before I realized that it was so overpowering you couldn't even hear what we were saying. And that kind of ruins the video, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion. If you can't even hear the person who's talking to you, that kind of really sucks. So yeah, you do have to worry about issues like that, but it just takes a little finessing, and you just kind of have to sit there and play around with it. Record 30 seconds to 60 second demos so that you can see what the sound is like. Make sure to go off in different places, do some combat, hear the actual music, things of that sort, because things will be added into the game as you progress. Like right over here, we have all of these spells being cast in the background, which is quite loud, but if you tweak the sound just right, you don't have to worry about that anymore. But if you don't, then when you're talking here, and it may be in this situation, you guys can't even hear me. Hold on one second. Camp check. Main room. Let them know that this place is taken. Nice. I'm glad I'm not the only one who spawned at towers camped. Wow, towers not usually camped as much. Ooh, look at that, Lesser Blade Fiend. That is cool. I forgot all about those guys. The spinning shields and swords. It's actually only one shield, and like how many swords do you guys see? Like 7? Maybe only 5. No, there might be 4. It's hard to tell at this angle. It's either 4 or 5. But either way, that would be wicked. Can you imagine that in real life, trying to hit something that's not even there, that's constantly spinning around in a circle? I wouldn't even know what to aim at. That's cool. I think that's the first time we fought one of those guys. Oh no, it's running. Oh, that's not gonna be good. No, what are you guys doing? Nice. Okay, they got it. And the sound effects is sweet. I like the sound of the swords collapsing on the ground. Let's see. Is there anything there? What is this? What is that? I guess that's okay. I don't know why it has a name. It's a magic item. So at least you got that going for you. If you don't have a magical weapon, you can use this. It's not the greatest damage or delay, and it doesn't have any stats, but again, magical items are magical items, and that may be all you need, so I'll let one of them take it. 22 SK, that would be nice to have, the 22 SK in our group, but we got a full group at the moment, so I'm not worried, and we're actually able to take on pretty high mobs, so we're doing fine just the way it is. Incoming a ghoul. Let's see. Let's come over here and clean up some of these mobs. I'm actually in a group who nobody here ever wants to loot, and so the mobs just keep stacking up, and it really is kind of ridiculous to the point where it causes issues with people actually being able to target creatures, and that's why I'm coming over here and looting, because nobody else seems to want to. And it's just, here we go, nice. Small ringmail gloves, perfect. I'm going to give some of that stuff, holy crap, I can't even move anymore, there we go. I'm going to give some of that stuff to, let me grab this, to my Necro, not my Necro, my Shadow Knight. Can someone link it? Oh, sorry. Hold on one second, guys. Let me drag it down here. There we go. Here we go. I'm gonna pause the video real quick while we random on that, just because I need to fix my sound real quick. Okay, so we're back, guys. Sorry about that. The only reason I paused it was that my sound was cutting in and out. I wasn't sure what was going on there, and it ended up being a loose wire on my headset. So I will have to go back, and hopefully the video didn't lose any sound. If it did, I will have to cut some out. So if you see a little gap there, a little cut, that's probably why. I do apologize for that. I got to get a better headset. I did buy a, what's it called? An Audio-Technica 2020, I think it was called. But for some reason, I still messing with it because it has this weird echo to the voice that I haven't quite figured out why. Like, maybe it's the room that I'm in, but I've tried it in several different rooms, and it still seems to have like this weird echoey, bassy thing to my voice that kind of sounds like I'm talking inside of a box. It's not very good, and it's a really good mic. Everybody has really good things to say about it, but you know, as I go through all my videos, and I'm constantly learning new techniques to use in recording. Let me get out of the way here. I need a better angle. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so overweight. The only way I can even move nowadays is because the Bard has her run speed on. And it seems to either cancel out my overweight, or it seems to at least, yeah, it's just canceling it out, because I'm stuck at 71 for my strength, and I'm at 222 for my weight. Holy crap, guys, hold on. Heal. Come on. Oh, dead. Dang it. Dang it. Unbelievable. We were doing so well that we have 2 clerics here, and not one of them was able to heal him fast enough. And we probably should have been able to. If I was paying closer attention, I might have been able to get at least one heal off, and he would have been able to get a heal off. That sucks. That really, really sucks. And that was our enchanter. That's why they died so quickly, because they have very, very few hit points to begin with. Unbelievable. I feel horrible about that. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and end the video here, guys. That way I can heal the group up and get everything going. I'll probably end up logging off pretty soon here because it's been a good bit of time since I started these videos. So again, guys, I want to thank you for watching. Yeah, just FD. That's with the Necro. That's why we're getting all those mobs, because the Necro below is just fatigue death, and I guess we got the aggro from that. Yeah. I do want to thank you guys. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to leave those comments down below because I love hearing back from you guys. I love the suggestions you guys have. And I will catch you on the next episode.